Zero Foxtrot does not profess to share or promote the opinions and beliefs expressed by show host or guests. The Stay Zero podcast was created to provide a platform for servicemen and women to share their stories. Due to the nature of this podcast, sensitive topics will arise. Conversations about combat, PTSD, drug use, and other such subjects will occur. Viewer discretion is advised.
Welcome back to the Stay Zero podcast. I have Anthony. Now, my wife calls me a stupid gringo because I say it Villarreal. And she's like, no, it's Villarreal. How do you say your name?
Well, I've come to say Villarreal.
Okay.
Obviously,
Yeah.
don't do a lot of multiple languages in the Marine Corps.
Sure.
But
sure. I gringo it up. Like,
but your wife is right. It's actually pronounced. You have to roll your R's.
yeah.
Since there are 2 R's and 2 L's, it's Villarreal.
Dude, I've tried to roll my R's since my very first Spanish class in like middle school. And the only thing I can do is like,
Yeah, a lot of people find it hard to roll their letters in the Spanish language.
I can't do it, man. I've tried. But I'm honored to have you here, man.
I'm happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
And hear your story and talk to you about a little bit about what you've been up to. I know you're working for Wounded Warrior, right?
Yes, I'm part of their national campaign team.
Nice.
So,
now the first thing that comes to my mind is the drama that they've had.
Oh yeah,
right. They stepped in some shit.
I still get a lot of that.
Do you?
Yeah.
What do you know about it? What's going on with them?
I know very little.
Okay.
I was more focused on doing my thing as far as.
Were you working for them when that whole thing went down?
I had not yet got into the national campaign team going out and talking, but I did know the little that I do know is there were some funds being used for not the purpose for veterans.
Yeah,
and so that whole, the higher ups and stuff like that got in trouble. And
yeah, they were doing some shady stuff, which upset a lot of people, right? Because I think the purpose was wholesome.
Yeah,
and the people donating have that intention in their hearts, right? Yeah. And to find out they were doing bottle service and hookers, and I mean, it sounds like Marines are running the place,
right? I mean, when the Warrior Project was organized out of a bar.
Was it?
So yes.
Just like the Marine Corps.
Yeah, just like the Marine Corps. So, but yeah, things happen with organizations. Sometimes people get, big head, in my opinion, and they start traveling off the path.
I don't think there's a lot of oversight on charities like that. Like, what are you doing with the money other than the ethics of the purpose of the charity?
I think they were still trying to get stuff like that together as far as keeping tabs on what was going on and things like that. And, at the time, people were helping out with any veterans organization that was out there, especially with Wounded Warrior Project. They, a lot of their money they did give back to programs like Project Odyssey and other organizations that were out there. They would take them on these retreats, and especially with guys with PTSD and stuff like that didn't want to talk to anybody. They would take them out on these retreats with these other veteran organizations, and that was their therapy. Get together with other guys, talk about what they're going through and how they're feeling, and also, kind of have fun while they're there, because you don't want it all to be serious, because that kind of takes away from the therapy.
Well, that, and it just gets emotionally exhausting, right? Like war fucking sucks, right? Like I don't want to be reminded of it every day,
Yeah, but it's in my opinion, it's good to remember the stuff that you went through, because it kind of helps you.
So they stepped into some shit. They got their PP slapped, but does it feel like you're on the inside of it now somewhat? Do you feel like they've got their shit together?
Yes,
like they're doing some stuff?
Mike Linehan, who was the CEO that just retired from his duties, pretty much put Wounded Warrior Project on the straight and narrow, and he got into everything, making sure everything was supposed to go where it was supposed to go.
Yeah.
And it's even better than ever from when it first started. So
maybe it was necessary.
A lot of people tell me, man, they should have been military, that should have been running it. But, even military guys.
Was it civilian?
It was civilian run there for a while. Okay. So they just, like any person during that time, they wanted to help veterans coming back from war with injuries. Yeah. And, they were able to take off with it, which, can only thank them, because how far and how big it's become has helped so many veterans.
There's no question they have done some good.
They really have. And that was one of the reasons why I decided to join and, tell my story with them letting me be able to do it, is because I saw so much coming out of that organization as far as giving back to the veterans, and just seeing veterans go through a lot of the programs and coming out a 360, totally different person.
Yeah.
Is, I want to be part of that. How can I be?
Did you attend a retreat or do something with them? Have they been like supportive of you? Did you have a different relationship with them before you started working?
The first time I met Wounded Warrior Project was through their backpack program.
Okay.
I was at the hospital, in the urgent care, going through my therapy and things like that. And they actually came in, another Marine who had lost his leg, came in with his backpack, came down and sat with me. And he, just shooting the shit, just wanted to talk. He was like, well, I just stopped by. I wanted to give you this backpack from Wounded Warrior Project. And they had toiletries. I had to change of clothes, shirt, socks, underwear, shorts, and just other things I needed for the hospital. And that
swag bag.
And it was amazing. I was in a gown for 3 months, 4 months, and the walls just started closing in, and to be able to change into regular clothes and out of that gown, it totally helped me in my recovery.
Yeah.
And so that was the first time I got in contact with the Wounded Warrior Project. And then a couple of months go by, maybe a year, I was already out in my own housing, going to therapy and things like that. And I just felt out of place when I would go to the grocery store and things like that, and had a really bad complex when I went out. So there for a while, a couple months, I just wanted to stay inside, draw the shades, kept everything dark, and didn't want to go anywhere, and stayed on my laptop playing my games and things like that. And one of the therapists was like, hey, why don't you go try one of these retreats and talk to some of the guys who kind of been through what you've been through. And I was hesitant. I was like, no, I felt like I went through the worst. No one's going to understand me.
Sure.
And I didn't even think about, my wife at the time. And she was egging me on, let's try it and see how it goes. No, I don't want to. So she finally convinced me. We went to Aspen, Colorado, with an organization out there called Vail Veterans. They teamed up with Wounded Warrior Project and did this whole therapy getaway for some other Wounded Warriors. That was the first time I ever went snowboarding, and it changed my life.
Really?
Were you good
at it?
No, I was horrible.
Okay, because
I was so terrible. I mean, all I
it's harder than it looks.
Yeah,
right?
It is. It really is. And you would think that you got on a board and just slid down and you'd be flying over. No.
Yeah.
It's terrible.
I see them doing jumps and like hitting shit. I'm like, they make it look so easy. Like, I could do that. Fuck no.
It was just a weird thing, having so much fun falling down.
Yeah.
You never expect to get that much fun just from busting your ass over and over and over. And seeing other guys do it. I mean, they even had snowboards and skis for guys in wheelchairs.
Yeah.
And they were flying down the mountain with their instructors, but, everybody was having a good time. Even the spouses were, getting close together, talking with each other and having a good time, not having to worry about us.
Yeah.
Because, when you have a caregiver, they're so worried about, is he okay? What does he need? Things like that. And just to see my wife out there having fun and not worrying about, if I'm going to hurt myself or anything, because we had instructors there to help us.
Yeah.
It was fantastic.
That's awesome.
And that was a turning point for me, because I was really deep into my thoughts at the time, and, getting depressed and not wanting to talk to anybody. And, when you get that deep, it's hard to recover from what I've heard from other guys.
How did you pull yourself out of that headspace? Because I think all of us go through it as a matter of when, not if. Like, I remember because we've had a lot of guys at 2-7 commit suicide.
Yeah.
Right?
It's still,
still
on the rise, which is.
And I remember, like, when I was contracting, even the fire department, I was like, what the hell's going on? Like, what's everybody's fucking problem?
Yeah.
But I hadn't quite realized that I got out of the Marine Corps, but I stepped into a very paramilitary organization within the fire department. You're still within a team. You have a mission to serve your community. It is dangerous. It is respected. So it's kind of just like a lap move, And then I went into contracting, which was very paramilitary. We just didn't have uniforms, but every dude there was former service. Yeah. The job was back in Baghdad, carrying a gun, like working, And so again, did I really get out or did I just kind of lap move? And it wasn't until we left Afghanistan, I lost all of that, the team, the community, the identity, that my turn came. Yeah. And I was fucking struggling. Yeah. And I went into a rabbit hole as well. Mm-hmm. So I think it's just a matter of when. I mean, you may do 20 years and like we see gunnies, like first sergeants, dudes that have committed suicide that you're like, what the fuck?
Yeah. Yeah. And
what worked for you? What helped you get out of that? So you went to the retreat. That was like step one.
I went to retreat. Yeah. For me,
say yes to the opportunity.
And, me being able to talk to other guys with injuries.
Yeah.
Not necessarily all the things we went through while we were deployed, just the injuries.
Yeah.
That kind of put me over the edge and got me thinking, I need to talk about this more because it's really helping me.
Yeah.
And just getting to know that it got easier after the injuries from these guys that I were talking to, it just made me want to continue further into what the organization was about. And
was that Wounded Warrior that you went?
The Wounded Warrior Project,
okay.
yeah.
Okay.
And just getting to help other veterans, like, hey, these guys helped me. I need to go ahead and turn around and do it for them because I don't know where I would have been if I would have never gone on that retreat.
Yeah.
And it happens for a lot of guys that sometimes they have no one to talk to or they don't want to talk, and I strongly encourage to any veteran I see injured or, with invisible injuries, hey, do you need to talk? I'm here. I might not have had the same injuries that you do, but kind of have that halfway point to where I kind of know where you're going through because of my visible injuries.
Sometimes it helps just to kind of organize your thoughts.
It does.
You know what I mean? Like just talking doesn't always make me feel better, but if I'm working through something in my head, like I just can't get it out of my head and it's fucking with me, to just have someone to vocalize it with and to say it out loud and to really process it with my mind helps me organize them and be like, you know what? Either this is the change that I need to make or come up with a plan, right?
Yeah. And sometimes when guys want to talk to me, I'll ask them, hey, do you want me to reply or you just want me to sit here and let you talk about stuff you're going through? So, and I think that helps a lot is some guys just want to talk about how they're feeling.
Yeah.
And not try to be fixed.
Right.
In other words.
Sure.
And, I try as much as I can to try and do that. So I think that's why I joined Wounded Warrior Project, their national campaign team.
Yeah.
Just put my face out there and give my story to anybody that's willing to listen. Like, hey, I went through the same things as far as digging that hole with my injuries and things like that. But, you can get help. You can find help. There's guys that are willing to help out.
You mentioned that like you were isolated, closing the curtains, staying at the house, didn't want to go out. Now you're a public speaker. What was that like? Like I get nervous doing this and there's 3 people in the room, and you're going to step up in front of thousands of people when you came from like afraid to leave your house.
Yeah.
Tell me about that.
I can't really describe it.
You're just like, fuck it? Or you're like, oh my God, I'm going to bring me a bag to throw up in while I'm doing.
Yeah. Well, I've always been a vocal person, especially in the Marine Corps. People know I voice my opinion to anybody. I didn't really take a lot of shit from nobody.
Yeah.
When I have higher ups telling me something to do, I do it, but, you can talk shit, I'm going to talk shit back.
Yeah.
And so I kind of brought that in with me as far as public speaking. At first I was nervous because it was, like you said, a couple hundred people talking to, give them my story. But the thing that really calmed me down was thinking of my story impacting or reaching out to a veteran who's going through something maybe that day or through their week, sitting out in the audience. I was like, hey, that guy, kind of knows what I'm talking about. Maybe I need to reach out and get involved or see if they're willing to help me, which is what I do it for.
Yeah.
Is I think my story could reach a veteran out there struggling with what they're going through.
Yeah.
May it be, visible injuries or invisible injuries with PTSD or TBI.
It may not even be a veteran.
Yeah.
I mean, anybody dealing with trauma of any kind.
Especially caregivers, going through what they're going through, losing a loved one or having to take care of a loved one who's been injured. My wife has a lot of impact with that too.
I bet.
When I go do those type of talks, and she's reached out, she's gotten a lot of praise from parents, caregivers, wives, things that, in the family.
Yeah.
Just for her showing up. They usually go up to her and ask her a couple of questions of our day-to-day stuff. And
sure.
I guess in my when I see it, you kind of see that their shoulders kind of drop down, like, oh, the weight has been kind of lifted off their shoulders.
I'm sure she needs a network too.
Yeah, she does. She goes through a lot of struggling with what happened to me.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't think about the spouses and the kids.
Yeah.
When their military son, daughter, husband, wife get injured.
Right.
They go through just as much as we do when we get injured. They have to deal with all the medical issues. And like I said, me being in a black hole for a while.
Yeah.
They have to go through it too. And
I mean, just think about anyone you love. Like I see someone I love hurting. It's almost harder to watch them hurt than it is for me, myself, to hurt, right? Like I can tolerate my own bullshit, but I'm watching someone I care about suffer in a way, and there's nothing I can do for them.
Yeah.
You can't take that pain away.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure she needs a retreat too.
Oh, yeah. And every chance she gets, I'm like, hey, go. I'm fine by myself.
Yeah.
Here by myself. We're covered. Things like that. So after I was able to, kind of do what I can do on my own, when she gets free time on her own, I'm like, hey, take it. I completely understand. Yeah. So
that's cool.
It's really nice having her around because when I was at BAMC, we saw a lot of guys getting divorced, their wives leaving them because they couldn't handle taking care of somebody who was injured.
It'd be such a hard situation too, because like imagine your spouse comes back and they're injured, and you're trying to be supportive. And I mean, even as a spouse that wants to be supportive, as the person coming home, if I had come home, I'd imagine it'd be hard not to feel some resentment or some bitterness for what had happened to me, right?
Yeah.
And who else do you take that out on but the person that's there, which happens to be your spouse, right? And so, and if they leave you, it couldn't possibly be because you're an asshole now, right? It's just because you're injured, right?
Yeah.
Like, oh, she just left you because you're fucked up. Like, well, I was also a dick for like 6 months and like ungrateful and had no one to take it out on but her. And so, it's a fuck, man. It's a brutal situation.
Yeah.
God bless her, man.
Yeah, she definitely put up with a lot when I was going through my shit, and I try every day not to keep it up, but
sure,
I get recurrences, but
absolutely,
she's definitely the level-headed one in the relationship of our family, and
mine too.
Just grateful to have her there.
Yeah, that's awesome. So what happened? You were with Golf Company, right? And when was this?
This was in June of 2008.
Okay, so was this Afghanistan?
Afghanistan.
Okay, I'd already gotten out. All right.
Yeah. I did two. In Iraq, and then our last one in Afghanistan, and which I don't know if you remember, we were supposed to go on a MEU, but they came out and say, "Hey, we're gonna go ahead and jump into Afghanistan.
Finally gonna go to Australia and get those women's numbers."
Yeah, and they're like, "Nope, we're actually gonna
back to the
jump into Afghan and help them out over there." So. Hey, 27, y'all just got back.
Where was Golf placed in Afghanistan?
We were in, where was it? I just remember it's Al-Anbar. No, that's Iraq.
Yeah. I know
Bakwa?
There was some guys.
Is it called Bakwa?
I know Christian was in Nowzad. I don't know how many other, think that was just
I think that was
team.
A different platoon that was down there. I just remember our fob being called Fob Alamo.
Okay.
Because we were the farthest out west, I believe.
Oh.
And so, if we got into anything heavy, we were pretty much on our own.
Yeah. Were y'all running vehicle patrols, foot patrols?
Both. Yeah, we had vehicles. We were on foot. Honestly, there was nothing really out there we were at.
Yeah.
I mean, the closest town was maybe like 5 kilometers away.
Okay.
So we mostly did vehicle patrol just to keep a presence, to be able to go push out farther.
You're not allowed to do nothing.
Yeah, exactly.
Keep them busy, boys.
Yeah, make sure. Let
Just
them know
fill
you're
sandbags.
out there.
Just fill sandbags. We'll use them eventually.
Yeah, actually, our first month out where we were at, we were doing our posts in our vehicle.
Oh, really?
Three men in each vehicle. We didn't have posts because we were waiting for engineers to get out there.
Yeah.
So we were in our vehicles for about 2.5 weeks, waiting for engineers to get out there.
Just sitting in the truck.
Just sitting in the truck,
Nice.
riding security. But it was fun.
Staring at the mountains.
It was yeah. It felt like we were back at 29 Palms, just seeing the desert, and then off in the distance you see the mountains.
Right.
So
not much different.
Yeah, we were far from anybody else. So
yeah.
Just can't remember where was that. I mean, I was only supposed to be there like 2 months because I was one of the ones that were supposed to leave early.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Fuck.
So my injury, when I got injured, we were a day from actually leaving the FOB to go back to Kandahar.
The day before you were leaving. Fuck,
yeah.
man.
Had my shit all packed up in my box, had everything rolled up. We were on QRF and we happened to get a call to meet combat trans.
Okay.
They were coming to deliver water, food, and mail, and the PX was coming. So we were excited. We're like, fuck yeah, we're going to get PX before we leave.
Dip.
Yep. So, we went out, met with combat trans, and on the way back, ended up running over a triple stack mine, IED, hit right under our vehicle. And, it was just a crazy experience.
Do you remember any of it?
I remember
Really?
everything. Yeah.
Really?
And it's weird because you get a lot of guys are like, man, I don't remember what happened. I just remember waking up in the hospital and, I remember everything. Got hit and tried to breathe, was struggling. I felt like I was drowning because of all the diesel smoke coming out. And I could not breathe. I was struggling to find exit. And for some reason, muscle memory, I grabbed the lock, the side of the door, and push it open. And the thing I like to tell people is that the vehicle we were in, the door was jammed. Every time we would go out, it was hard to open and close the door.
Yeah. Those armored doors, the mechanisms are shit.
Well, the door is so damn heavy. Yeah. Those mechanisms fucking fall apart as soon as they use it 2 times.
Yeah.
And so, like I said, it was just, I don't know, the weirdest shit. I went to open the lock and the door swung open. It was light. I didn't feel the weight of it.
That's called adrenaline.
I guess so.
Superpower strength. You rip these fucking doors off. It's hot in here. God damn it.
I opened the door and I just crawled out. Some of the guys in the convoy saw me crawl away.
Yeah.
They were like, "Oh shit, someone fucking."
So was the vehicle on fire? What was happening?
Yeah.
Did anyone else survive the hit?
Doc Burnett, which is a corpsman in the back, he was on impact.
Nothing.
Straight away.
Okay.
Nothing. He didn't survive anything. Justin Rokel, our turret gunner, he was actually launched out of the turret 10 stories high.
Fuck.
And ended up falling in the engine compartment, shattered both his legs, broke his back. And our vehicle commander, Joe Piram, he was severely injured as well, burned. I think he was blown out of the vehicle when it happened, shot out. And, he had injuries to his abdomen and things like that. And he survived. So 3 out of the 4 guys in our vehicle survived.
Wow.
So, and I was the driver. So, like I said, luckily the door opened, pushed myself out, crawled away, and I just remember feeling the hot sun all over my body, and all I could remember was my dog tags.
Really?
The first person that came to drag me, David Yabobin, he came and dragged me. He actually hurt himself dragging me away because the rounds were going off in the back of our truck.
Oh,
and
shit.
I think our vehicle was a 203.
Ooh. Not the rounds you want cooking off.
Yeah. We had 203s going off and 50 cals going off in the back of our truck. I think our truck was the ammo supply, resupply for all the vehicles. And so when we got hit, just rounds were going off. David E. Bobbin came and dragged me out from the area away from the vehicle because they said they were hitting close.
Yeah.
To me and to us. He injured his back, pulling me out, but he said all I kept saying was my dog tags, my name, O positive, my social security and religion, things like that.
Like you were reciting.
Yes.
You were, wow.
Yeah. And I remembered later the reason why I was reciting is because I had another Marine's boots on. He had already gotten out. Something happened with our footlockers, and he ended up taking my boots, and I had his boots.
Oh, wow.
And that was the reason why I was reciting, because we were both named Anthony. So it had A and then our last name, but I guess we didn't look at the dog tags right. So we got our boots mixed up. So that was the reason why I was reciting my dog tag information, because I knew I had the wrong.
That was a good thing y'all had the same size boots.
Yeah. I got the wrong dog tag. I got to make sure they don't give me the wrong blood. And so, and especially with the social security number on there, if something happened, if I didn't make it, I wanted them to know, that's not me.
Yeah, I hadn't thought about the blood thing. Did you have to get some blood transfusion?
I did, yeah.
Really?
I don't remember how much, but I know they said they had to.
So they pulled you out of the vehicle. You were conscious during all that?
Yeah.
You remember them working on you?
I remember him dragging me. Like I said, I remember him dragging me through the sand. Felt like sandpaper rubbing on the back of my legs because I had burns all over, up and down, obviously, on my legs. So when he was dragging me, just felt like someone was rubbing my skin with sandpaper.
Were you in pain at the time?
I was hot and thirsty. I was not hurting at all. I didn't feel any pain. I was basically numb.
Wow.
I just remember being so damn thirsty. And I kept telling the doc, hey, give me some water. I can't, man. I don't know if you're bleeding from the inside. No, I can feel it. I'm good. I remember saying that. Like, no, I'm all right inside. Just give me some water. It's like, I could wet your lips, but I'm not going to give you a drink of water. Like, no, I'll be all right. Just give me my camel.
Give me some fucking water.
Yeah.
Give me my
it's like, it's hot, doc. I'm thirsty.
Right?
It's like, I can't. It's like, but I can give you
roasted, man. Give me some water. Like, it's hot.
And he's like, I can give you some morphine. That's about it. So that was the only thing I felt as far as pain, is when he gave me the shot of morphine in my leg.
That hurt?
It felt like a needle.
Yeah.
Just a regular needle. I was like, oh, fuck. I was like,
did it make it better? Like, did you?
Yeah, it calmed everything down.
Yeah.
I did calm down. They said I passed out for about 2 minutes, and then I woke up again when I felt the helo come in, because all the air was, it felt like a huge fan was on me, and it cooled me down. I was like, oh man, I can
Let me ride on the skid.
Yeah. I just felt I just remember feeling the feeling of cold air hitting me in that hot desert sun.
Yeah.
And with all my burns, I just felt, oh man, this feels so nice.
Was this summertime?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fuck.
And 120, 30 out there.
I've had like a sunburn, and I get on a hot shower or something, or like the sun, and it burns. Like, I can imagine how raw like your nerve endings must have been after having been burned and then sitting in the sun.
Yeah. And that was the only thing is why I felt the sand, I'm thinking. Yeah. It's because all my nerve endings were showing. And when he was dragging me, I could feel it. But yeah, I felt the helo come in. I heard it. They put me up. Doc was like, hey, you're getting out of here. You're going home. Remember getting lifted out. The guys on there were like, hey, we're going to Kandahar, and then the Bastion, where they're going to fix you up. Just go ahead. If you're going to pass out now. We got you.
Yeah.
Pass out on the whole ride. Remember getting to Bastion, and the surgeon there woke me up. He's like, hey, I need you to tell me your name, everything, to make sure this is who you are. and then we're going to do some procedures on you and get you ready to get you sent home. And he kept talking to me. I think we talked for about 20 seconds, 30 seconds. And he's like, all right, I just need to make sure you're okay, you're conscious, where you're at. I'm surprised you know where you're at. We're going to put you out now, and we're going to send you home. And I guess halfway on the way to San Antonio, I woke up. And
like on the flight?
On the flight, yeah. Oh. And I was like, hey, am I good? Where am I at? Is everybody with me? What's going on? They were like, yeah, you're good. We're on our way. You're in helo right now. You're on the plane, actually, on the way to San Antonio. We're going to get you there. You're good. And
had they told you about your injuries yet?
Like, no, I had no idea. I didn't know the extent of my injuries when I was on the plane back.
Yeah.
I just knew everything was dark, I guess, from my eyes being swollen shut. And they had coverings because they had to do some eyelid replacement.
Really?
While I was there.
Wow.
And I guess the most memorable thing on that flight back was I asked the guy that was watching us, hey, am I good? He was like, what do you mean? Am I good? He's like, yeah, you're talking to me. I'm like, no, am I good? He's like, I don't understand. I was like, am I whole? Yeah. He's like, what do you mean? Like, my dick there?
Yeah.
I was like, really? That's what you're going to ask me?
That seems like a valid question.
I was like, that's what I'm asking. I didn't want to say yeah, but am I there?
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, you're good. He's like, but I could take it off from you. That's you're really concerned. I was like, no. That's all I wanted to know. And then I passed out after I asked that question. And then 3 months later, I woke up.
Wow. 3 months later.
Yeah, they had to put me in a drug-induced coma for 3 months.
Holy shit.
To do all the surgeries and amputations and things on my body. So, had a lot of third-degree burns.
Yeah.
Obviously, with the amputations, the burns went down to the bone. So that was the reason for a lot of my amputations.
Like that fast?
Yeah.
Was it diesel? It hit the tank or something? It
hit right the back left of the vehicle. So right behind me, the vehicle driver. So that's where the tank's at. And
fireball, huh?
Just big old fireball went up. And it just, all that diesel just sprayed all over us and got on us. And, with burns, doesn't really matter how close you are in the vehicle, it's going to get you. So.
Dude, that was a valid question, man. I remember we used to have that conversation all the time on the team. Like, hey, man, if I get hit, like, save my life. Unless my dick's blown off. Like, if that's not there, just let me go. Just let me go.
I remember those conversations.
Yeah,
every time we were deployed, or even when you go out on the patrol, you're like, hey man, if it's gone, just leave me there.
Yeah, if it's gone, I'm gone. It's over.
Don't try to save me because I'm not gonna be the same person.
Oh, that's fine.
But I just can't believe I asked that question. It's like, I got a hard question.
We had a kid get shot in the stomach by another Marine. They were like throwing rocks at each other, and one of them pulled out his pistol, and he says he thought it was unloaded. He's like, stop throwing rocks at me or I'm going to fucking shoot you. And the guy's like, fuck you, man. And threw a rock at him. Dude pulled his pistol out and shot him right in the gut. And I think everybody was just as shocked as the guy that shot. Like, they had just cleared their weapons. He thought but what a stupid thing to do, right? Like, and he went to Leavenworth, but the guy that got shot, they told me that he's like, I'm a virgin. Oh my God, is my dick still there? Check my dick. Like, he's just hollering the whole time on the ground, check his dick. And the CO, the company commander, comes like running out and is looking at him and pulls his pants up. He's like, you still got a dick? He's like, okay, I'm good. He just lays back. It's funny, man. Like, that's where you go.
Yeah.
I don't blame you a bit.
Yep. We're doing all this in war and worried about the smallest thing.
Well, some are smaller.
Yeah, some are smaller. But, what a thing to worry about when you're getting shot at.
Yeah.
My dick.
Yeah. That's
getting shot at, but don't hit my dick.
So 3 months of an induced coma and they wake you up. What is that like? What was that awakening for you? Do you remember being in a coma? Like, in a coma?
I don't remember. When I came to, I thought I was in a really deep sleep.
Yeah.
When I woke up, I was like, man, is it time for post? What's going on?
Yeah.
And luckily the doctor was right there. And they asked, usually quite, where you're at, you are, what day it is. Like, yeah.
Wow.
I thought I was still in Afghanistan. I was telling them what time it's post. Did I miss? Did I sleep in? Am I in trouble? What's going on? And then that's when
like a time machine.
Yeah. And they explained, they were like, hey, you're in San Antonio. It's like, San Antonio? It's like, I'm not too far from what happened. Like, well, you were injured in a roadside bomb.
Trump is president. I'm like, what?
Huh? Lies. But yeah, they that was the first time everything turned real was when they said I was in San Antonio.
Yeah.
Me being from Texas, living up from Lubbock, I'm like, wow, I got so close to home already.
Yeah.
I don't remember coming back. And it really set in when they started telling me you were injured. We had to do this is gone. You had so many surgeries.
How many
as far as now? Oh, when I woke up, I think they said it was around 50 surgeries that I had. That's why the reason for the drug-induced coma, because I was basically back-to-back surgeries. They would do a surgery because your body can only handle so much.
Sure.
What is it called?
Anesthesia.
Before they have to let it run out of your system, and then they can do it again.
But they could still keep you in a coma.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I guess that's a different type of medicine as far as like keeping your brain from working, I guess.
Wow.
And then they're like, you're here. You've been here for 3 months. October. I was like, October? I just left in June. Like, really? October? Like, yeah, we had to put you out for 3 months. And then they're like, do you want to stand up and see what you look like? And like, no, I think I'm too tired right now. I don't really want to.
Yeah.
So
it's a lot of information to process, man.
And they still had coverings over my eyes just to keep the moisture in, because they had just done they finished the eyelid replacement surgery. So everything was still blurry. I didn't really see any faces. I just hear everybody.
Okay.
Another month or two went by. I was able to get my strength up. And it was the first time I got out of my bed. And I told my therapist, all right, I want to go to the mirror. I want to see. So I went to the mirror, and then once I saw who was there, I didn't like it.
Sure.
So, and a million questions were just running through my brain. What am I going to do now? How am I going to work? How am I going to provide for my wife? And at the time we were newlyweds. We had only been married maybe a year. So, I had no idea what I was going to do. I've known this job for 3 years, 4 years. That's a long time for get settled into a job.
Were you just out of high school when you joined the Marine Corps? So this is the only job you'd ever really...
No, I had a job before, but this was more
career
wise job. And I was a cook before I joined the Marine Corps. It was just to make money.
Sure.
And when I knew I was going to join the Marine Corps, I wanted to make a career out of it. And so, to have at that point, my dream of being a career Marine, retiring, was just shot. Like, well, fuck, what am I going to do now?
Yeah.
Your modeling
days are over.
Yeah. Can't do none of that. And I just didn't know what to do. Yeah. I was just running through questions daily. Every time I woke up, okay, what am I going to do today? I need to figure this shit out. Especially, like I said, being married, I was kind of ready for her to take off on me.
Yeah.
Because at that point, we've heard and seen so many wives bounce on some of the guys. I'm like, all right, it's my turn.
Yeah. Which that expectation could even facilitate it happening, right? Because you're treating her as if she's going to.
Or if she's already gone.
Yeah.
And you're just giving her the cold shoulder at that point.
It's like, well, what am I here for? You already expect me to leave. You treat me like I've already left you.
Exactly.
Like, fuck.
Yep. And so, she stayed there. She helped me through my therapy, get me back on my feet. She was, don't really want to say this, but she was being a bitch to all the nurses. 'Cause she was, she wanted to make sure they were taking care of me. That's the only reason is she wanted to make sure they weren't doing stuff they weren't supposed to. Every shift change, every nurse shift change, she was making sure the old nurse got down everything that the new nurse was supposed to do. And if they skipped something, she would tell them, no, you're supposed to do this first and then do this.
Sounds like she's been in a hospital before, because I've seen that shit happen too. And if you're like, as a caregiver, if you're not on top of it, these nurses don't know everything that's going on, and they're human too, right?
Yeah,
they
have so many other
down, and they've got multiple patients, and good on her. Good on her.
And she stuck with it, and through my therapy, that's what kept me going.
Yeah,
she was making sure they were doing it, but I was also doing it with it.
Is this physical therapy?
Physical therapy.
Okay.
Yeah, learning to eat with the spoon, learning just to walk, go to the restroom, take a shower. No, that's the first things you learn.
Yeah.
When you are able to walk and under your own power.
Did the muscles just atrophy, or did you lose your strength? Or?
I just lost a lot. Well, I was 185 when I got hurt.
Okay.
After all the surgeries, I was 95 pounds.
Holy shit.
So I lost tons of muscle everywhere.
Yeah.
So I was basically trying to build my muscle up through physical therapy. I couldn't even lift my arms when I was able to.
3 months of just laying in a bed.
So, with muscles not being used for so long, obviously you're going to lose all that muscle mass. So, I was basically working out every day for the next 2 years.
Okay.
Just getting my strength back to be able to walk for 10 minutes. And that was just a pain in itself.
Was it painful or?
Yeah, it was painful. Just feeling the joints and the muscles rubbing together. It felt like, bone on bone sometimes.
Really?
And I didn't want to get up. I was so hooked on pain meds, obviously, at that point, because I was in so much pain. Didn't want to do nothing. I just kept asking me, just give me some more medicine. Give me some more pain meds. I don't want to do it today.
What are some of the complications? Because I know are you able to sweat where you've been burned? Or do you have like body regulation, temperature regulation?
It's hard for me to regulate my body temperature. Yeah. The really only places I sweat from is my torso, my back, and my head. Everywhere else.
Where you had flak and helmet and shit was covered. Yeah.
Yeah. That's the only places that got protected.
Do you remember Sean Beidler? He was a sniper, I think more probably my era. He may have gotten out by Afghanistan.
I didn't know a lot of snipers really.
Okay. I remember we were in team together for a while, but he had been in a car wreck, I think in high school, and was burned real bad, like 40% or something like that across his whole chest and back.
Oh, gotcha.
And he had told me about that they would come in and like scrub the wounds.
Yeah.
And he's like, bro, worst fucking pain of my life.
There's not enough pain meds that could take that pain away.
And he couldn't sweat where he had been burned.
Yeah.
And it gave him, like, he was at a greter risk of being a heat casualty or maybe even a cold casualty because he couldn't regulate.
Yeah, you could definitely get frostbite faster.
Really?
Because it's just mostly
scar tissue.
Thin piece of skin covering your muscles.
Right.
With the heat, you can't feel the heat until something actually burns you, or you feel the burn. Yeah, okay. I burned myself on this arm countless times cooking outside, and
it's
leaning
just
over.
Like numb. You don't know it.
You just lean over, and then once it hits the muscle and the nerves, you're like, "What the hell?
Is that steak burning?" no, man, that's my arm. We're good.
We're not making steak; it's chicken. Oh, crap. But yeah, it's that's the downside of burns is I can't be outside for too long, or else I'll definitely start feeling the dehydration. And
do you get sunburned easily?
Yes,
that happens.
Yeah, I have to put like layers and layers of SPF all over my body if I know I'm gonna be outside for longer than 30 minutes.
Really? Because
it'll just eat through my skin and burn the crap out of me. So it's not bad to manage. Mostly being aware of where you're at and how long you're going to be there is what
just kind of learn what you got to do now. Like this is,
and you learn a lot of tricks going through some of the the trials that you have, especially living in Texas when it's always fucking hot here. You gotta, gotta carry water with me. I gotta have my SPF lotion wherever I go. And that's another good thing about talking to other veterans who've been injured. You learn tricks and tips from them that they've found that you never could have thought of. You're like, oh yeah, I never tried that. I can actually use that.
Yeah.
I go home. So it's hard to go out anywhere. So I think that was, like I said, the big problem with me when I had that dark place I was going to for a while. Is I didn't want to do anything because of how I felt out in public.
Yeah.
Just because I didn't know how to.
I'm sure there's, I mean, you don't know any better than anybody else does when they go through a change like that, right? You look in the mirror for the first time, like, who the fuck is that?
Yeah.
That ain't me.
Yeah.
You know, like,
this is a trick mirror.
Right? Who is this guy? Like a loss of almost your identity to a degree. Like fuck. Waking up in another body.
Yeah. It definitely felt.
And then I'm sure you kind of feel like anywhere you go, like people are always looking at me. You know?
Yeah. But
and they might be, but fuck them.
But I realized that it's mostly kids.
Sure.
Because
they're curious.
Kids. Yeah. Kids are curious. And I don't hold it against them at all. I mean, it's just, it's funny because, it's like I have a 24-hour Halloween costume on. You know what I mean? So
crush it on the costume competitions.
Yep.
Huh?
And I don't pay nothing for Halloween costumes when it comes around. I'm free and clear.
There you go.
But yeah, the ones that I guess get to me sometimes when I have adults that stare. Like, hey, come ask me a question. I'm not gonna rage out. Like, what are you looking at? I want to kill you. Get up. Yeah, I'm not the boogeyman. I actually want people to come up and ask, hey, what happened? What's going on? And that's how I tell my story in the other way.
Yeah.
I do get a lot of weird looks because when I see someone staring at me, I beeline it straight to them. Like, hey, how are you? And then turn around and leave. Like, I want you to ask me.
Yeah.
And it's just funny just to see them, how fast they turn and leave.
Yeah, like uncomfortable, isn't it? See how I'm staring at you right now? Doesn't make you feel good, does it?
Bubble. But I just enjoy telling my story just because I just hope it reaches another veteran.
You should, man.
Get them out of their shell.
Sacrificed a great deal, and a crazy fucking thing happened, and there ain't nothing for you to be ashamed of.
Yeah, and every veteran has a story.
Fuck yeah.
They're not always the same, and
you lived through it, man.
Yeah,
that's legit.
I think that's what, in my opinion, what guys need to do is express and tell their story to people, even if they don't want to hear it, because I think for me, it's very therapeutic to have people listen to my story.
Yeah.
And not just mine, but I also include other guys that were with me who were injured with my stories, and my wife, to let other caregivers know that, yes, my wife was going through the same thing I was going through. And, we made it through with a lot of bumps. We made it through.
Yeah, man. Marriage is hard. Marriage is one of the hardest things I've ever, and when you throw kids into it, it's the hardest thing, right? If you give a shit.
Yeah.
I'm sure I know people that don't, and their kids are raised with iPads, and their marriages are second thought. But if you give a shit, it's fucking hard.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that was a hard thing for y'all to go. Did y'all have kids before?
No.
Okay.
That was one of the upsides, is that it was just us two at that point.
Yeah.
We didn't decide about kids until we were settled. We were at a place where nothing was really happening. I wasn't having surgeries around the clock. I didn't have to go to physical therapy.
So your dick still works.
Yeah. We wanted to make sure. So when we planned it, we were like, all right, we're going to try and see how it goes. And
that's awesome.
Okay, I got two boys that,
How old are they?
One is 8 and one is 3.
Nice.
So they kick my ass every day.
That's fun, man.
Feel like I'm back in the Marine Corps.
No
running
doubt.
around trying to chase them. And,
dude, the energy that kids have, if you could bottle that shit, you could run Vegas for a month.
Dear Lord.
It's exhausting.
And it's a struggle for me with my injury, keeping up with them.
If I could catch you, I'd beat your ass right now. Get over here. I know where you sleep.
You're lucky. Just wait till you're asleep. You got to go to sleep sometime.
You're never getting macaroni again, ever.
Yeah, it's funny just to see my wife look at me. Why do you have to say that stuff to your kids? It's funny.
Yeah,
they know I'm joking around.
I get in trouble daily for teaching my kid. He's in that phase where poop, wieners, butts, it's all funny, right? And so it's just running around the house making fart noises and smacking each other on the ass.
Yeah,
a good time.
Yeah, it's a good time. My son, he's picked up a lot of words from me, especially hanging out with some of the 2-7 guys. He'll go to school and get in trouble. I'm like, hey, when you're with me or at home, you could say stuff like that. When you're at school, try not to.
Yeah. Yeah. I had that conversation this morning. I was like, listen, man, I know you think these are funny and sometimes they are, but you cannot repeat this stuff when you go play. Luckily, we homeschool. So,
gotcha.
It's my job, right? He's not going to learn it at public school. So I got to slide some things in there just for his upbringing.
Yeah. Yeah. The wife's like, he's not supposed to be saying those words. I'm like,
you can figure them out eventually.
His dad's a Marine. I learned these words at school when I was 8. His age.
Right.
I had friends that were throwing these words out because their parents said it and they said
or have older siblings. Yeah. Right. Yeah. One of his best friends has a 12-year-old older brother that he's going to learn everything he needs to know right there. I'm not going to be able to stop it.
I tell her, it's all over TV. It's when we go to the supermarket, I hear it, he's going to hear it. Yeah. He's going to say it and not know what it says, and we have to tell him.
But they need to understand, like, there's places that certain behavior is appropriate and there's places that it's not. Yep. And that's just reality. That's for adults too.
Yep. So I can't, I tell the wife, I can't get mad at him when he repeats something I say because he hears it from me constantly on a daily basis.
Oh yeah. I get that look often.
But I can remind him, hey, when you're at home with me, you can call me whatever you want, but you're at school and you're out in public or people we don't know.
Yeah.
You got to cut it short.
Yeah, he called me bro the other day, and I'm like, dude, I'm not your bro, not bro. Dad.
Yeah, the oldest one called mom bruh. It's like bruh. It's like what?
Yeah,
that's not bruh.
Yeah, negative.
You better not call me bro either. Yeah, dad or daddy or
try again, bro,
sir, or something. It's like I could call you bruh because you're son. You don't call me bruh, but it's fun though. I mean, I'm just glad I was able to make it through my injuries and. All the crap that I went through to be able to do that with my sons and my wife. So,
what's been the hardest adjustment for you to make?
I guess just learning everything over.
Really? Like how to do things all over that you already knew.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just simple things as, like I said, eating. I can't cut food by myself. I can't, it's hard for me to hold utensils. If I eat a steak, it looks like I'm a caveman in the steakhouse. I grab the fork and just bite the crap out of it. But
fuck it, be a caveman.
I tend not to care because I'm going to eat regardless.
Yeah, man. I could see how, like, do you feel like a dependent sometimes? You're like, God damn it, I just should be able to do this.
I do.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of times when we're out, I feel comfortable at home, obviously, because I'm at home. Mm-hmm. I don't have to get dressed up to go to the mall or, out to dinner or whatever.
Boxers and bathrobe.
Yep, exactly. The biggest things, obviously, the restroom part of it. Like, as far as being sanitary, I can't do it by myself. But, I've made some adjustments. But when I need help, I'm like, man, I got to ask her to go to the bathroom with me, to the manager. I really don't want to.
Yeah.
And so those are the times when I'm struggling to ask. But if I don't go, then it's going to go everywhere else.
Yeah, everybody's got to go sometime. Yeah. There's no holding it.
Yeah. So
I actually had a friend one time. She had poo-poo phobia. She'd go like stay in Dallas with her boyfriend and like not shit for like a week. I'm like, what is the matter with you? She's like, I just can't do it at his house. I can't do it. I'm like, that's not healthy. Like, yeah, I was like, you have a brick. Like, I don't think I could get through one day with that decision. Like,
if I gotta go, I'm gonna go.
Yeah, right.
I'm not holding it for nobody.
Here's your gloves. Get to work.
But It's the basic things really that you never thought you would need to learn over again. And when you have to do it, you're like, man, I need to be able to do it by myself.
Yeah.
So
have you tried like a bidet or anything like that?
I just don't like water shooting in my ass.
It's a little weird, right? It's kind of like being touched in the no-go zone.
Yeah, it's like, I don't know you. I need dinner first, please.
Yeah.
And you're talking to a toilet.
I need a glass of wine before I use that bidet. I just feel violated.
Yeah, I mean.
Oh, who keeps putting numbing cream in the bidet?
Yeah, I've tried it a couple of times. I really like it.
Little warm water, a little splash action.
Yeah, it's mostly for the heated seat.
Oh yeah,
on cold days.
Yeah,
those are great. But when you got kids, it turns into a water park.
Fair point. It's not a drinking fountain.
Yeah,
get your head out of the commode.
You want to get squirt, and you tell your kids, "Hey, you're shooting your face with poo-poo water." You know, we fart and shit in there, and that nozzle doesn't protect itself.
Don't put your mouth on the. No, stop. Get out of there. That's funny.
Yeah. So, but we switched to wipe. I'm like, man, why am I doing it so hard to do what I used to do back in
fucking deployment
overseas?
Style. Yeah,
deployment style. Just
baby wipes.
Wipe 3 times, you're good. Just like a bidet. Save money on water and save money on toilet paper. So, like I said, I had to learn to adapt to do that, and it's been working out fine.
Good.
So, and I guess the biggest thing that I struggle with is being able to be outside with my boys. Like I said, with my injuries, I can only be outside
just
a certain number of minutes.
Yeah.
And so, when they want to,
is it your endurance or just exposure to the sun?
It's both.
Okay.
When I get overheated, I really slow down. Since I can only, my main area where I sweat is my head, is where it all just pours down, and I tend to get lightheaded faster if I overexert myself. And so, being outside with the boys, it's just tough, man.
Yeah.
Can't ride the bikes with them, trying to hold the bike, can't play catch. I can do kickball, but I tend to kick it too hard. So, they kind of steer away from that.
Beat your ass at soccer.
Yeah, you want to play some kickball? Let's go.
Yeah.
They like to go bowling. They like to throw the ball around, and it just pains me. Like, can't, man. It's hard for me to throw the ball back to you. Can't do it. And just being outside, trying to go to the playground, they want to run around and things like that. I tire out easily because I only sweat from certain areas, and it's always hot, and it just sucks.
Yeah. Probably in the wrong state. Probably move north somewhere.
But there's no greater place to Texas, so I'd rather stay here than go anywhere else.
I hear you. And so you mentioned Intrepid Warrior.
Yeah.
And that helped you.
Yeah, another organization.
Tell me about that, because I think that's Brian Wilson.
Brian Wilson, yeah, we served together with 2-7.
He's a good dude.
Yeah,
I like him.
He's been one of the ones that's been by my side since my injury.
Really? Was he there?
Yeah. Or no, he was at the hospital when I got back to San Antonio.
Did y'all serve together though, like in the same platoon or squad or something?
We went through did we go to boot camp together? I think we went to boot camp, same platoon, went through SOI together, and then we went to 2-7, stayed in the same room together for a deployment.
This dude's family.
And we're closer.
I got you.
We're one of the ones that you stay close with throughout your Marine Corps career.
Hell yeah.
He was put on one of those weird contracts where he had to do 6 years, but he only did 2 active duty. And then he did 4 at, what is it called?
Reserve?
Reserve.
Oh.
It's funny because he did his time in Lubbock, where I'm from. So from us being roommates to him moving to my hometown, where I've lived for so many years, it was just one of those things that was just mind blowing. So when I would come back for a pre-deployment leave, I'd go hang out with him. It was like I never left 2-7 because I was always hanging out with him when I came home for my pre-deployment. And after I got hurt, he came down to San Antonio and helped my wife out with that, just because we've known each other for so many years.
Yeah.
And me being an avid Texas Tech fan, he was going to Texas Tech while he was doing his reserve time.
Some brand loyalty there too, huh?
And so the cool thing is him and another guy started the vet program at Texas Tech because they didn't have one.
Oh.
So he got to know the administration really well. At that time, Coach Mike Leach was the football coach. Went up to the athletic program and he was like, "Hey, I got a buddy got injured. Is there any way I can get some Texas Tech swag for him while he's in the hospital?" Ended up getting like a whole bunch of DVDs, jerseys, footballs, all kinds of stuff. And he drove down here and brought it to me. Like, "Hey, I know you can't see me or hear me, but I brought all this Tech stuff for you."
That's cool.
And so that just kind of closed the bond a whole lot more.
Yeah.
And then
you're not just with me when I'm at my best, but you're there when I'm at my worst. Yeah, that's awesome. He's a great person.
Yeah, he is. He bent over backwards to help me and Jessica, do some things.
Did he start Intrepid Warrior? Is that?
Yes, he is the founder of Intrepid Warrior.
And what did you do with them? Did you do a retreat with them?
I did a hunt with them.
Okay.
He had a company called North American Whitetail. They're a big hunting magazine. I can't remember where they're based out of, but he got together with them. They wanted to do a veteran hunt, and I was the first name that popped in his mind. Obviously, like, "Hey, you want to come down and shoot a buck?" It's like, "Sure, why not?" So he sponsored it through Intrepid Warrior. He wanted me to go through it with him and this company called North American Whitetail. Did the hunt. They interviewed me, asked about my story and what the organization was doing for me, the reason why I was down there, and I just had a great time sitting in the blind, just being able to talk to Brian about the old days and kind of lifted a big weight off my shoulder, like, I belong here.
Yeah.
I was kind of falling back into that dark place you usually get when you really don't have no one to talk to. I have my wife, things like that, but me being in Lubbock, there's not really a lot of guys. There's not a lot of Marines up there.
Yeah. Are you still up in Lubbock?
No,
You're in San Antonio. Okay.
Yeah.
See, I have a friend in Lubbock now. He was on the podcast, Clayton Martin. I'd hook you guys up if you were still there, but
yeah,
I guess.
Yeah, there's another guy from 2-7 that lives there that I didn't know for a while, and we hooked up a couple of times. But
it's true, man. Like, I have my wife, I have even my blood family, but it's not the same as spending a weekend with the guys that you served with. And sometimes it can be guys you didn't. And, there's enough overlap and camaraderie and experience and respect that you all still have a good time. Mm-hmm. But to actually see those dudes again years later, I mean, we're all adults, but we go right back to 18, 19, 20, you know what I mean? Like,
and those memories really help me get through some of the toughest times because at those times, you're not going through it with yourself.
Yeah.
You got guys there that are all complaining,
yeah.
This shit sucks. Fucking 03 at the Armory. Those are the times you miss.
Yeah.
And you love talking about. And that just brings the happiness feelings out.
Yeah, I don't miss being at the Armory at 03. That one doesn't stick with me, but I do miss them,
yes.
and being, on a 4-man team. Even, I mean, I don't know if you were the squad or whatever, it's probably 10. You're with them all the time. Like you eat together, you sleep together, you train together, you work together. And then I come home and I'm alone.
Yeah.
Like that hit me, the isolation that I felt when pull the team away. And not only do I not have all my buddies with badass guns around, so like this strong sense of comfort, right? But I have none of that, and this strong sense of abandonment, almost like it. That was a hard thing for me when I first got out too, and I don't know that it's ever gone away. I notice it more when I see them, though.
Yeah,
for sure.
Oh, definitely.
There's been a couple, I think twice in the last 2 years, we've met up in Houston. A handful of the guys that I served with, and It's fun, man. You just kind of put your life down for an hour or two, and you just engulf yourself and your friends and what they're doing. And
I mean, like you said, you feel like you're 19 again.
You do.
And you just start
rejuvenates you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And just shooting the bullshit with people that understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
It's just...
I get more therapy in 2 hours of talking to them than 2 years of talking to
And that's exactly
else.
what happened at this hunt with Brian and the Intrepid Warrior. We sat in the blind. There was another guy in there.
Yeah.
But it was kind of one of those things where he got to hear the military side, the chill side of not all about war. Mm-hmm. And me and Brian just bullshitted about what we did while we were in together. And just having that time clears everything, like you said. Your mind goes blank. You just remember the days where y'all were both complaining, or y'all were both in the room having a beer, watching TV, or just listening to all the sounds around in the desert.
Yeah.
It just clears your mind and get you up and moving again. And then at the same time, you're hunting some game and you get that buck and get to see, get to shoot a weapon again. Especially with me, I hadn't shot a weapon in 5-6 years until then. And being able to fire around and hit something and being able to see what I hit and have a trophy, it just...
And eat it.
Yeah. Oh, man. It was so good.
Yeah. And I've been to his ranch. He's got a great place. It's like 1,300 acres.
Yeah, it's beautiful out there. And you can definitely get lost just sitting in there. And that's the thing that I liked, was being able to sit there and get lost in conversation. And that's what it meant to me. I got lost in conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Wasn't worried about, the family, because, my wife said, hey, don't worry about us. Go out there and just do what you need to get done and come back. And I was like, okay. And just go out there and enjoy myself.
Yeah.
And just clear all the crap away.
It's like being constipated and taking a mental and emotional laxative. Yeah. It just washes it all out. And you're like, you know what? I feel lighter.
And I did. When I got home, I was so glad to see my boys and my wife. I felt just this big weight being lifted as soon as I got to the airport back in Lubbock, and being able to see them, I just felt rejuvenated all over, and I was ready to take on the world again. And that's what I feel Intrepid Warrior did for me for that hunt. It was just get me back to the real world and get my mind right again.
Yeah. And have you done any of the reunions? He's hosted a few of them.
I did one many years ago. I think he had another one. I think I missed it due to my son's being sick or something like that. And, I didn't really want to spread that around. So,
yeah, no, we appreciate that. Don't make us all sick.
I know Semper Fi Fund did a couple of reunions as well.
Okay,
I missed.
Yeah, they had one. I remember when they were doing one. It was at some kind of river, or I remember they had like a lake house.
I think so. Yeah.
But the ones I've been out at Brian's, because he's got lodging. He's got a couple of properties, actually. There's another lodge. I haven't been to the other one yet. But man, it was like probably 15 of us. I actually pulled my camper out there. Probably 6 dudes slept in my camper. Had to sell that thing. Filthy animals. And we're just sitting around the fire, bullshitting, barbecuing. One of the guys was playing guitar.
Of course.
It was, yeah, right. Messing up songs. Everybody, shut the fuck up.
Put it in the fire. We need more wood.
It's probably me playing the guitar, actually. I don't remember. But no, man, like you said, it's a total mental and physical reset. And I hope that we can do more of them. We need to do that at least once a year.
Yeah.
Maybe we can talk him into doing another one.
Yeah, and that's what we want for Intrepid Warrior. He after we did that hunt, he made me a vice president. He was like, hey, I want you to help me out.
Nice.
Like, sure, man. I do stuff with Wounded Warrior Project. Maybe I can tie Intrepid Warrior with them. They can help us out with finding veterans or giving us some info on how we can more improve the organization.
Yeah.
And that's all we want to do is take one guy at a time out there to go hunt and just talk. That's mostly what it's for, is just talk therapy.
Yeah.
And, you get a buck or a javelina or whatever out there at the same time, but
he's got lots of hogs.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's South Texas, so
they're everywhere.
I mean, you can't walk outside without seeing one.
I've dove hunted out there. It was fucking awesome. It sounded like World War III. I took 3 of my buddies and we circled this pond, and it must have been like a flight highway.
Oh yeah, dude. That pond is, yeah.
It was crazy. I mean, before I could get to pick up the one I've shot 3 others, and I'm hollering at my buddy to turn around because there's another one flying. It was great, dude. We limited out in probably 15, 20 minutes.
Damn, that's fast.
Yeah, if you're a good good shooter. I'm not a great shooter with dove, so they limited out on my account as well. Oh. I think I probably got like 6. They covered the rest. But yeah, dove's another animal, but it's super fun.
Yeah, that was the turning point for me was, like I said, when I was able to finally shoot a weapon at something.
Yeah.
And it sounds weird, but being overseas, being shot at, and you shooting at people, it was just a different type of feeling.
Sure.
Of adrenaline.
Yeah.
And just shooting the gun again, just made me so happy. Yeah. Everybody knows the feeling of shooting a gun. It's fun. Mm-hmm. Everybody says it's dangerous, but when you shoot it, it's actually fun.
It's just fun. Yeah.
It's just fun.
I just saw the fun part.
And being able to do it, I couldn't really express the feelings I was having at that moment.
Yeah.
I didn't know if I wanted to cry or scream or shout or do what. I know Brian said that when he saw me shoot that buck, he was like, I got to get out of here. Give me a second. And walked out. I know he cried, but it was just one of those moments we can share it together. Me getting my first buck, me shooting a gun after so many years of trying to figure out how to shoot a gun with my injuries. It just came together. And
were you left-handed or right-handed?
I was a righty when I
that's the problem.
So definitely
Did you shoot left-handed?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was able to shoot left-handed. They had a really nice setup that they let me shoot from, tripod, bolt action, used some hay bale twine around the trigger, around my wrist to pull back, to squeeze the trigger, and was able to get it done and
there's a will, there's a way.
Got me a nice one, yeah.
Nice.
I mean, marine ingenuity,
Fuck yeah.
It works at its best when you got to.
I got some hay bale string. We'll just tie that shit to your wrist, give it a jerk.
Yeah, and just put rounds down range. And it was just, like I said, it's just one of those experiences that the first one is the most memorable. So I can't thank Brian and Intrepid Warrior enough for getting me out there and hitting my reset button.
Yeah.
So
do y'all do fundraising? Are they taking donations? Or
we're trying to start fundraising here after I get all the paperwork from him to do what I got to do to help. I know he has a website, intrepidwarrior.com, where you can donate or I think send in a request.
Yeah.
Or a veteran.
Okay.
I'm not sure. He set it all up. I still got to go through all of it. But I know there's a website to where if you're willing to donate, you can donate and give to Intrepid Warrior so we can get another vet out there to.
He reached out to me about putting together either some classes, teaching some things like survival stuff, do some camping, do some hunting, some necropsy stuff, how to skin them and turn them into food. And, I think it'd be a really cool opportunity.
Yeah, he definitely wants to do that too. If we can get enough funds coming in, we definitely want to get a group together and just have them go out there and have a discussion about what's going on with each other and how's everybody feeling, things like that. And like you said, when we get a group of guys like that together, things start coming out. People start getting into their feelings for sure, and especially when the beer's running cold and whiskey tastes right, and we get people coming out of their shells and asking for help.
Yeah,
I might be a little inebriated, but help. Someone asking for help is still someone asking for help. So I think it's definitely needed for a lot of guys.
I think there's a humility that you just acquire from going through all of that shit and realizing like, fuck, man, I'm struggling too.
Yeah.
That guy's struggling. I'm struggling. Shit. Let's just get together and everybody what's your, lay your burdens on the table,
exactly.
and there's no judgment in the group. It's like, and in a lot of ways, we're all usually dealing with something similar. Like it overlaps a great deal. Marriage is hard. Employment, like finding a job, like we're all grinding our way in the world. And some of us are more successful than others at it, or maybe it just looks like it. The guy might make a butt ton of money, but he hasn't managed it all that great. He has way more bills than he has. You know what I mean? Like he's drowning in his own mind because he can't sustain the lifestyle. Yeah, exactly.
And I've learned that us as Marines, we're the shit. We all know it. We went through the hardest training. We've done the hardest shit. They put us in places with fucking minimal equipment, but we learned to adapt and overcome. And I think a lot of the times we need to be able to make ourselves vulnerable at some times and let some of that anger or frustration or happiness or whatever we got out, because I hear from a lot of Marines that, I don't want to look like a bitch in front of my boys.
Sure.
Well, we're going to make fun of you, obviously. Because, you are being a bitch, but we do want to listen to what's going on. We are concerned for our brothers. Don't think that, we're not going to help you out and just make fun of you all the time. I mean, that comes with the territory. Sure. With Marines, we're going to make fun of you regardless.
Oh, yeah. You're definitely a bitch. Definitely.
Yeah. But
we love you.
We're here to help. We're fucking here to help.
You're our bitch.
Yeah.
You're our bitch.
Exactly. And that's all I want to do.
Yeah. Well, do you have any book recommendations? I like to close out with those. Do you like to read?
I did. But I finished reading when I had kids. I really don't.
Audiobooks, do you like those?
I tried. I just fall asleep. So
they're good for something.
I guess the book I would recommend was probably Math for Marines or something like that.
Math for Marines. Well, okay.
I used to be real into I think his name was John Grisham.
Yeah.
I think he did a lot.
Yeah.
A lot of
he's wrote a bunch of shit.
Court stuff. I think he did a lot of cop sort of solved mystery, I think. So I haven't read any of his latest books, but I think The Jury was the last book he wrote, I think. Yeah,
you've been out of the loop for a while.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I think that was published in quite a while ago. But no, he does do some good stuff.
Yeah, I used to like reading his books. Haven't read anything lately. So
yeah.
I've been wanting to get to, but when I actually get a chance to sit down and read, my mind's drawing a blank. And
I'll tell you the best thing. I'm about halfway through it right now. It's a podcast called Martyr Made, and I guess the season that I'm listening to is like the history of Jerusalem and the Jews and Palestine, and because I've never understood what the hell is everybody fighting.
Oh, gotcha.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, what's this feud over?
Yeah.
Because growing up in America, you mostly hear like the Jews have been persecuted everywhere they go, and they can't find peace in Israel, and the Palestinians are and I never got it. Like, why does everybody hate these guys so much? And so, man, he breaks it down and goes from like when the Romans kicked them out to how they were homeless essentially as a people for 2,000 years, and then come back into what they perceived as their homeland, but somebody else is already living there.
Yeah.
And it's like this 2,000-year-old land dispute. And I sympathize with both sides. Like it's fascinating. It's very well done. If you give a shit at all about any of that, I'd recommend that one.
That.
Yeah, it's good.
I've been wanting to read a lot of cookbooks, really.
You like to cook?
I love to cook.
Nice.
If I didn't retire out of the Marine Corps, I was definitely going to try and get into culinary school when I got out.
Really?
That was my backup plan, but obviously with my injuries, couldn't really happen. But
you can cook some shit, right?
Yeah, I could still smoke me a good brisket and cook.
There you go.
Stuff on the stove if I want to.
That's what your sous chefs are for.
Yeah.
Cut that meat.
Make sure it's right and then give it to me.
There you go.
But I really love cooking. That's my other therapy kind of sessions.
Yeah.
Even cooking something as simple as spaghetti with meatballs. Yeah. It just keeps me focused on one thing, and then it helps me think of my daily routine of what I need to get done.
Yeah.
And everything kind of lines up for me when I cook.
Yeah. It's a good hobby that's always like there's always something to learn in that.
Yeah. And in the end, you get to eat it. So it's
test it. Yeah.
There's nothing bad about eating food after it's done cooking. So,
yeah.
I definitely love doing that. So I've been wanting to get into a lot of reading about cooking certain dishes and stuff like that. So
that's cool, man.
I guess cookbooks would be.
That's one of my missions this year is to get better at smoking meat.
Yeah.
I want to learn I feel like that's a man skill that everyone should have that I don't. So
just buy one of those automatic smokers.
Yep, there's a pretty good sheet out there.
There is. I use and
I'm
it.
Not opposed to it.
Hey, it comes out good. Nobody can say it's raw. Hey,
absolutely. Fuck off. I'm not competing.
Someone
just
made
eating,
it. Yep.
Right.
Exactly.
It's a whole lot of money to make a turd.
Exactly.
But it's fun.
Yeah, it is fun. It definitely gets you away from the hustle and bustle inside of the house.
Yeah.
Because it gives you the excuse. I got to watch the meat. But
I'm with you.
If I forget that's out there, it's going to burn. I'm going to have burnt meat.
Dude, I've got beef ribs thawed in the fridge right now. I'm going to go home and make tonight.
That sounds nice. I need to learn how to do those. Those are my hardest.
Well, this is my first time, so odds are good I won't be eating them. I'm just be cooking them.
Gotcha. Just for show for you.
Just to toss them. Wouldn't be the first time.
We all got
cool, man. Something. You got anything else you'd like to share?
I guess just for veterans out there, we really need you to speak up and look for help. That's all we're here for is a lot of these veteran organizations like Intrepid Warrior, Wounded Warrior Project, Simplify Fund, America's Fund. They're just looking to help out veterans that need help.
Yeah.
Some are going to say no. Some are going to help you with whatever you need to help. You just can't be afraid of not asking, because if you don't ask, then we don't know.
Yeah.
So
please fucking reach out.
Yeah, I just ask for veterans just to reach out, please.
Absolutely.
We're all look. We all want you to stay alive and see your family grow and not lose any more of our own family. Because as far as military Marines, we say we're brothers, but the ones you go to war with, that's family.
Absolutely.
So.
Thanks,
just like my favorite quote, "He who sheds blood with me shall forever be my brother."
Amen. Awesome. Thanks for coming in, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
Stay zero.